Okay, so in today's video we're going to take a look at reading scales, or just completing questions that involve using a scale. Alright, so remember these topic specific worksheets, you can find them on the National 5 Applications website. So question number 1, Gillian thinks that 24 degrees Fahrenheit is colder than minus 3 degrees Celsius. A thermometer is shown. What we've got to do is determine if she's correct, and we've got to justify it. So what we're going to do is use this scale to work out what's colder. Obviously on a thermometer, the thing that's lower down is going to be colder. So let's find both of these, mark them on the thermometer and see what one is indeed further down. So the left is degrees Celsius and the right is degrees Fahrenheit. So let's mark minus 3 degrees Celsius first. Well, we know it's going to be somewhere between 0 and minus 10. Hopefully you can see there's 10 jumps. So each of these is worth 1. So minus 3 is going to be 1, 2, 3 down. So minus 3 is here. Okay, and for 24 degrees Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit's the right hand side, it's going to be somewhere between 20 and 30. I've made a jump of 10 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. So each step's going to be worth 2. So 22 and 24 is going to be here. So you can see that 24 degrees Fahrenheit is indeed colder because it's further down. And just make sure that that's what you write. So yes, 24 degrees Fahrenheit is colder as it is further down, something like that, lower down, than minus 3 degrees, minus 3 degrees Celsius. Okay, so just make sure you do justify it by having some kind of marking in the diagram and then some kind of wee mini explanation. Alright, next question. Question 2. Lynn is flying an aircraft and has been told that the outside temperature is 34 degrees Celsius lower than the ground temperature. The ground temperature is 6 degrees Celsius. Calculate the outside temperature and mark it in the gauge. So 2 steps. First of all, let's work out the outside temperature. We're told that that is 34 degrees lower than the ground temperature. So if the ground temperature is 6, the outer temperature is going to be 34 lower than that. So I'm going to take away 34. 6 take away 34 is minus 28 degrees Celsius. If you need to think about that in terms of a number line, go from 6 down to 0. That would be 6 jumps, but I wanted to go 34. So I need to go down a further 28, which would take me minus 28 like that. Alright. Okay, so let's mark minus 28 degrees Celsius on this scale. So degrees Celsius is the inner circle, Fahrenheit's the outer. So we're using the inner one. We obviously know it's going to, first of all, we're going to be between minus 20 and minus 40. Hopefully you can see that this here is going to be minus 30. That bold black line. Then we've got to kind of work out, well, going from minus 20 to minus 30 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps. Each of those must be worth 2. So minus 28 is going to be here. It's all about working out what each increment is worth. Okay, next question. The fuel tank in Colin's car holds 64 litres of fuel. Colin started with a full tank and used 40 litres of fuel. Mark the remaining amount of fuel on the gauge. So first of all, we want to work out what was remaining. So that's going to be 64 and he's used 40. So there's 24 left. Alright, now what we kind of want to do then is work out, well, how are we going to mark this in the scale? Well, what you know is, all the way up to the top in full, that's 64 litres. So what we can try and do is work out what each increment's worth. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16 in total. Alright, so I could also say that up to here would be 32, half of 64. And then if there's 8 going along here, each of them's 4. So I could do it in 2 ways, either 64 divided by 16 or split it up and do 32 divided by 8, which is 4. So each of these is worth 4. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along to get to 24, which is here. Okay. Next question. Carol knows that she can travel 280 miles on a full tank of fuel. She's making a trip of 110 miles. That's the gauge that's shown there. Does she have enough fuel to make the journey? Well, what we need to work out is, based on 280 miles, and this is what the gauge is showing, right? That's what fraction of fuel's left. Do we have enough? That's 110. So let's first work out what fraction of fuel's remaining from this gauge. Well, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jumps. And we are 1, 2, 3. So we've got 3/8 remaining. And what we're doing is 3/8 of 280, because that's the total amount that we can travel on a full tank. So what we need to do is 280 divided by 8 times by 3. Oops, 280 divided by 8 and then times it by 3. So non-calculator this one, set out a sum, 280, alright. So it would be 3 and I'd have 4 left over, so it's 35. And then we're doing 35 times 3. If you need to do a sum, that's fine, but 3 times 30 is 90. 3 times 5, 15, so that's 105 altogether. And then make sure that we justify yes or no. So it's 110, but there's only 105 left. So no, she doesn't have enough. She's only got 105 miles left. Okay, which is less than 110. Oops, there we go. Okay, so make sure you're always justifying when it says that you're making sure you're putting the wee final comment in. And then this is the last question. Frances is not feeling well. She takes the temperature using a thermometer. Her temperature is shown below, so it's going up to here. The temperature of a person in good health is 36 degrees, 36.8 degrees Celsius plus or minus 0.4 degrees Celsius. Our question is this person in good health? And make sure we give a reason for our answer. So, to be healthy, you're 36.8 plus or minus 4. So let's work out what that range is then. So 36.8 plus 4 and 36.8 minus 0.4. So 36.8 plus 0.4, that's going to be 37.2 degrees Celsius, and that's going to be 36.4 degrees Celsius. So what we want to see is this temperature between that. So let's see what the temperature is. If we take a look, we are making a jump of 40 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those big jumps. So each of those lines must be worth 1. So that would be 36, that would be 37, that would be 38, and so on. So this temperature here is obviously somewhere in between 37 and 38. Hopefully you can see that this line here is going to be 37.5, and then we are making a jump of 0.5 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so each of those is worth 0.1. So the temperature this person is actually at is 37.7. Okay, take a wee bit of time if you need to pause the video, just make sure you're comfortable with how we get that. So, if that's the range, 37.2 and 36.4, is this person healthy? The answer would be no, as 37.7 degrees Celsius is greater than 37.2 degrees Celsius, alright, which was the maximum. So there's our kind of reasoning for our answer. We've worked out the maximum and it's above that, alright. So with our reading scales, the thing that's key is making sure you work out what each increment is, and you can basically start by taking finding roughly where you're going to be, and then getting more and more accurate as you go down. Alright, so for that example, I kind of looked at 35 and 40, closed in on the fact I was going to be between 37 and 38, and then closed in even further to get the actual value. So with reading scales, it's just about knowing what each increment's worth, and that then comes in handy when we're looking at maybe reading graphs as well, or plotting our own graphs. So reading scales should hopefully be the type of question that you're looking to get marks from in any test or assessment.